4 drafts, 4 rejections, and on the 5th attempt, sitting in an all-you-can-eat Japanese restaurant with his mates, Billy Coody's phone exploded with messages that would change his life forever. G'day Swans fans, if you love stories about never giving up on the dream, hit that subscribe button because this one's special. 22 years old, pick 42, round 3 of the 2025 AFL National Draft. Most blokes his age have already been playing AFL footy for 3, maybe 4 seasons, but not Billy Coody. For him, draft night wasn't just another milestone, it was vindication. It was proof that sometimes the longest roads lead to the most meaningful destinations. When Greg Swan called out his name on that Thursday night, Coody wasn't sitting with his family, wasn't watching the draft with bated breath. He was out at dinner, trying to keep his mind off the thing he'd been chasing since he was 18 years old. Because after 4 consecutive years of hearing nothing, of being passed over, of wondering if it would ever happen, he'd learned not to get his hopes up. But his mates, they hadn't given up on him. One of them even joked, "Imagine you got drafted tonight." 15 minutes later, reality caught up with the dream. For every Swans supporter watching this, Billy Coody represents something we all understand: the refusal to quit when everything says you should. But to understand just how remarkable this moment was, we need to go back to where it all started. Billy Coody's journey didn't begin in South Australia. It started in country Victoria, a kid with a dream that seemed straightforward enough: play AFL football. Simple, right? But footy has a way of humbling even the most talented. At 18, he nominated for his first draft. Nothing. So he kept in the Western Jets in his junior years, showing leadership beyond his years. Still nothing. By 20, he was captaining the Essendon VFL side, a massive responsibility for someone so young. Surely that would be enough? It wasn't. Behind the scenes, Coody was living a double life that thousands of aspiring footballers know well too often. During the week, he was a tradie, working to pay the bills. On weekends, he was chasing the dream. And every single year as draft night rolled around, he'd nominate again. Every single year, the phone wouldn't ring. There were certainly times where you think, "What am I really doing here?" he'd later admit. Think about that for a second. The self-doubt, the questions from people around you, the pressure to be practical, to get a real job, to move on. He'd delayed study opportunities. He'd put off making proper money. He'd put all his eggs in the football basket, and year after year, that basket looked emptier and emptier. But here's what separates the dreamers from the believers. Coody made a decision that would define everything. In 2023, he packed his bags and moved to South Australia. Not to an AFL-aligned club, not to a comfortable VFL system he knew. He joined Norwood in the SANFL, a club with a reputation for one thing above all else: winning flags. The move to Norwood was sparked through wanting to be part of a club that really valued winning, he explained. Being part of an AFL-aligned team, you can sometimes feel that there are a few things out of your control. I just wanted to be part of a club that really wanted to win a flag. It was a gamble. At his age, with his resume, moving interstate to a league that wasn't even the VFL, the traditional pathway to AFL, could have been career suicide. But Coody wasn't playing it safe anymore. He was backing himself. And at Norwood, something clicked. The 178cm midfielder forward started putting up numbers that were impossible to ignore. 23 disposals per game, 5 clearances and a goal. Week after week, he was one of the best players in the competition. But there was still no guarantee. He'd been one of the best before. That hadn't been enough. Draft night, 2025, Thursday, November. Billy Coody had been through this 4 times before. 4 times he'd watched other names get cold. 4 times he'd seen blokes younger than him celebrate with their families. 4 times he'd gone to bed knowing he'd have to try again. So this time,
He didn't watch. He couldn't. The hope had burned him too many times. Instead, he was at an all-you-can-eat Japanese restaurant with 4 of his closest mates. The kind of mates that had stuck by him through every rejection, every setback, every moment of doubt. They were just having a meal, trying to keep things normal. Then one of them said it. Just joking around, the way mates do. Imagine you got drafted tonight. 15 minutes later, reality caught up with the dream. Cootie had spoken to Sydney in the lead up to the draft. He knew their pick was coming up around number 42, but the Swans keep their cards close to their chest. They'd given him nothing concrete, no promises, no indication. He'd been left in the dark, which, after 4 years of rejection, felt all too familiar. 15 minutes after his mate made that joke, his phone started erupting. Message after message, call after call. In that moment, sitting in that restaurant, Billy Cootie's life changed forever. The Sydney Swans had taken him with pick 42. 5 years, 5 drafts, and finally, the call came. "I just thought, it must have happened," he said. "It was a crazy moment and a very special one." But here's the bittersweet part. He wasn't with his mum and dad. The 2 people who'd supported him through every rejection, every long drive to training, every moment of doubt. They weren't there to see it happen. I wasn't able to share it with mum and dad, but I was able to share it with 4 of my really good mates. It was lovely. Lovely, that's the word he used. After 5 years of heartbreak, after being told no 4 consecutive times, after wondering if he was wasting his life chasing something that might never happen, he called it lovely. That's the kind of perspective you only get from someone who's truly earned it.
Thursday night, the dream comes true. Sunday, Cootie's on a plane to Sydney. Monday morning, straight into training with the Swans. They show no mercy, he said with a laugh. You go straight into it. But you can hear it in his voice. He wouldn't have it any other way. This is what he'd been waiting for. Not the celebration, not the recognition, the work. The chance to finally prove he belongs at the highest level. Around the footy world, Cootie's story started spreading. Social media lit up with Swan supporters welcoming the new recruit. But more than that, people were connecting with the journey. Because everyone loves a good underdog story, and this one was as real as they come. At Norwood, the club that took a chance on him, there was nothing but pride. They'd seen what he could do. They'd welcomed him with open arms when he arrived from Victoria, and now they were watching one of their own head to the AFL. But perhaps the most telling reaction came from Cootie himself. When asked what fans could expect from him, he didn't talk about individual accolades or personal goals. The Alex Neil Bullen role, he has probably nailed it, and one that is underrated outside the 4 walls, but heavily valued inside, he explained. That one that can get up and back at speed consistently and try to hit the scoreboard as well. A team-first player, someone who values winning over personal glory. After everything he'd been through, Cootie just wanted to contribute, however he could. Billy Cootie's story isn't just about one bloke finally getting his shot. It's about what the Sydney Swans represent as a club. Think about it. We're the club that took Errol Goulden with pick 32 when other clubs had passed on him. We're the club that saw something in Isaac Heaney that made us trade up to get him. We're the club built on finding talent that others overlook, on backing character as much as ability. Cootie fits that mould perfectly. At 22, he's older than your typical draftee, but he brings something you can't teach: resilience. He's been knocked down 4 times and got up every single time. He's moved states twice to chase his dream. He's captained teams, worked as a tradie, and never once quit. That's Swans material right there. For the 2025 season and beyond, Cootie represents depth and determination. He's not coming in expecting to walk into the best 22. He's coming in ready to earn it, the same way he's earned everything else in his career. And here's what makes this even more special. He hasn't played a game yet. The dream came true on draft night, but the real work is just beginning. Cootie knows that better than anyone. I'm so grateful that I got to that, but I haven't played yet, so I'm ready to knuckle down. 5 years of waiting, 5 years of working,
and now the chance to prove it was all worth it. At the end of the day, this is what being a Swans fan is all about. Believing in people who believe in themselves, even when the world's given them every reason to quit. Billy Cootie could have stopped after the first rejection. He could have stopped after the second, the third, the fourth. He could have taken the safe route, settled for state league footy, built a career as a tradie. But he didn't. Because some dreams are worth fighting for, even when the fight takes 5 years. Welcome to the Swans, Billy. You've earned every bit of this. Let me know in the comments what you think about Billy's journey. Have you seen a more deserving draftee? Hit like if you're backing him to make it, and I'll see you in the next one. Go Swans!